Hello class, today we are going to study about mammary glands. Okay, so these are also one of the accessory reproductive organs of female reproductive system. Okay, so let's begin the mammary gland. Very first point, the mammary gland is a mammalian character. So it is a mammalian character. It means that mammary glands are only found in case of mammals. No any other animal have mammary glands. It is exclusively present in case of mammals. So any animal which have mammary glands is a member of Mammalia. Okay, so it is a mammalian character. Secondly, what we see that the mammary glands are a modification of sweat glands. Okay, so they are present on the skin. Okay, and they are modification of the sweat gland which is present into the dermis, right? So sweat glands are found in the dermis. This we have already seen in class 11 in case of mammals. Some of these sweat glands modifies to become glandular and to become the mammary gland, and then they start secreting milk. Okay, so these mammary glands are modification of sweat glands. Very, very important. It is often asked, so do remember this. Next, as I said, it is a mammalian character, so where it will be found? Obviously in all mammals. Okay, and only in case of mammals, nowhere else. Now the second thing is, in mammals, where do we find them? Well, in mammals, within mammals, the mammary gland is found in both male and female. Okay, so do take a note that mammary gland is not only present in females, as many of the students have this perception. Please do not make it. Mammary gland is present in both male and female. Okay, however, in case of males, okay, mammalian males, this mammary gland is underdeveloped and is non-functional. Okay, so it is non-functional and underdeveloped. In case of females, it is highly developed and functional. Okay, and therefore only in females these glands are capable of producing milk and secreting milk. Okay, so do take care that mammary gland is present in both male and female. In case of male, it is underdeveloped and it is non-functional, but in case of females, it is highly developed and functional. Okay, now also that it only becomes functional in a female after the age of puberty. Okay, and once she gets pregnant. Okay, not before that. Before that means before this onset of puberty, it is not developed in females. It gets fully developed on the onset of puberty, and it becomes functional, that is start producing the milk only when she is pregnant, and that too the secretion of milk only starts in the later phase of the pregnancy. Okay, primarily in the third semester of the pregnancy. Okay, so what we are trying to say here is, the main point, take home message here is, the mammary gland is found in both male and female organisms belonging to class Mammalia. Okay, in males it is non-functional, in females it is highly developed and functional. Okay, great. However, see, biology is a science of exceptions, so there are exceptions to this point as well. Exception, again, important. Okay, the exception is, there is a further subclass of Mammalia that is called Monotreme Okay, monotreme. Now these monotreme mammals, okay, these are primitive mammals. So monotreme mammals such as platypus, you have heard of duck-billed platypus, okay, the only egg-laying mammal. So they are primitive, they still have the egg-laying character, which is non-mammalian character, but because of rest of the other characters, they are part of mammal, okay. So platypus and echidna, which are monotreme mammals, these are primitive mammals and they have mammary gland, but in these animals both male and female have functional mammary gland. Do remember, okay, very important. In case of platypus and echidna, both male and females have functional mammary gland. However, there is another catch, that in case of mammary glands found in platypus and echidna, they do not have nipples. They do not have nipples. They have very primitive organization of mammary gland, which is without nipples. And the next question that you would think, that if there is no nipple, then how their young ones are going to feed, right? So these mammals have a lot of hairs on their body, which is a mammalian character, body hair. They have thick fur on their body. So these mammary glands, which do not have nipple, they keep on producing milk, and this milk seeps out of the body, and through the fur it drips out of the skin. Okay, so this mammal, the young one of these mammals, go and start licking the fur of that area. Okay, and these furs have continuous milk coming out of them. Getting it? So basically milk is dropping down through the fur. Okay, it's trickling down from the fur, and this is how these young ones take in the milk. Okay, they keep on they keep on sucking these fur, or maybe they just keep on licking the furs. Okay, licking will be a better term. Great, itna yaad rahega. So what we have seen is, it is the mammary gland is a mammalian character. It is a modification of sweat glands, and mammary gland is found in both male and female. However, in males, in most of the mammalian males, it is rudimentary, non-functional, and underdeveloped. Okay, but in case of female, it is highly developed and functional. However, the complete development only happens after the age of puberty, and the production of milk only starts in the later phase of pregnancy. Okay, there is an exception to it. The exception is monotreme mammals, that is platypus and echidna. Such mammals have functional mammary gland in both male and female. Okay, great. Now let us see at the structure of the mammary gland. Okay, and this is of more importance because NCERT focuses on the structure of the mammary gland. Now, if you look at the structure, so this diagram I have directly, this figure I have directly taken from the NCERT. You can see the human mammary gland, okay, the human female mammary gland is 2 in number, that is 1 pair, okay, and they are present on the breast. Okay, they form the breast. So can you see here, there is ribs. Okay, and this is the muscle between the ribs, that is called intercostal muscles, and over to it there is pectoralis major muscle. Okay, so this pectoralis major muscle is actually the muscle of the pectoral region. Okay, and pectoral region is your chest region, right? So there is a rib cage, and on above the rib cage there is this muscle called pectoralis major, and over this muscle there will be skin layer, right, dermis, and in this dermis there will be the sweat glands, and these sweat glands have modified to become the mammary gland. As you can see here in this area, these are the actually sweat glands that have modified and now become the mammary gland. So here is the mammary gland. Okay, now if you look at this mammary gland, because of this modification, and formation of a lot of glands, as well as deposition of this fat. Okay, fat, this whole area bulges out, that is, it develops, okay, and forms the mammary gland. So if you look at this mammary gland, it has mainly two things. First one is these uh, mammary lobules, okay, and second one is the fat. Now the fat present here varies from person to person, that is from female to female, okay. Even in a female, at different time point, the amount of fat present in her breast may vary, okay. Especially in a lactating mother, the amount of fat will be more, okay, and in a female which is not lactating, obviously it will be lesser. Also, it depends on the other factors, okay, overall body fat content. So overall there is a fat in this gland, and if you look at this gland, what we find is this gland is made up of these mammary lobules or lobes, okay. So can you see here, what we find here is these structures. Can you see? Now these are mammary lobes. These are called mammary lobes. And in a breast, human female breast, there are around 15 to 20 such mammary lobes per breast, okay. So per mammary gland there are around 15 to 20 mammary lobes, and each mammary lobe, okay, let us see the second picture, that is more clear. Okay, let me do this, yeah, okay. So can you see, this is one lobe. Can you see here the red line? So this is one lobe, this will be the another lobe from back. Can you see here? Okay, sorry, this is again one lobe, this is another lobe at the back, okay, again this is one lobe, another lobe, this is one complete lobe. So these are called mammary lobes, okay. As you can see, these mammary lobes look like a grape bunch, right? And if you further zoom into them, what you find is each mammary lobe has these structures. Can you see here? These structures, these are called mammary alveoli. These are called mammalian or mammary alveoli. These mammary alveoli are actually the functional unit and the structural unit of a mammary gland. Okay, so these alveoli are the structural and functional unit of the mammary gland, and then these alveoli, actually the cells produce milk. Okay, so if you see these mammary alveoli, you find these large cells. Okay, can you see these large cells? These are the glandular cells. These are epithelial milk secreting cells. Okay, if you ask what type of epithelium it is, these are simple columnar epithelium, simple columnar glandular epithelium, because they secrete something. Sorry, glandular epithelial cells, yeah, epithelium. Okay, so these alveoli are made up of simple columnar glandular epithelium, and they produce milk. They produce milk in these cells. Now, if we think where this milk will be produced, how this milk will be produced, obviously this milk will be produced by the help of SER, RER, and GC mainly. Okay, so inside these simple columnar glandular cells, the SER, RER, and GC will be mainly involved. Okay, I'm not saying only, because there will be nucleus and rest of the cytoplasm, the whole cellular machinery will be involved, but mainly the SER, RER, and GC, okay, will be involved in the production of milk and then secretion of this milk. Okay, now once the milk is produced in this glandular epithelium, it is secreted uh, into the lumen. Okay, so these cells, I'm using white color for milk because milk is white. So these cells, these epithelial cells are going to produce milk and going to secrete it in this space. Okay, can you see here? Let me make it bolder. So they are going to secrete it here in this space. Now this space is called lumen, alveolar lumen, because this is the space inside the alveoli, so we call it alveolar lumen. So the milk is produced and then finally secreted into the alveolar lumen, and in the alveolar lumen it is stored temporarily. Great. Now apart from these glandular cells, which are simple columna, what we find is these myoepithelial cells. Can you see these myoepithelial cells? What is the function of these myoepithelial cells? Well, these myoepithelial cells are muscular cells. Okay, these are muscular cells, smooth muscle cells. So what they will do, they will contract, and once they will contract, the whole alveoli will contract, and what will happen? Contraction of alveoli will decrease the lumen space, pushing the milk out so that milk can be secreted out of the body. Okay, so far it is good. So inside the alveoli, the milk is produced and secreted into the lumen where it is temporarily stored. Finally, when it is required, the myoepithelial cells present on the alveoli contracts, okay, pushing the milk out from these alveoli. Great. Now, once this milk comes out, it comes out of the alveoli through a duct. Okay, so these alveoli are connected through a duct, and this duct is called mammary tubule. This is called mammary tubule. Okay, if you have to see here in this lobule, can you see this? Each grape, so this is a bunch of grape, looks like a grape bunch. Each oval structure represents one grape, that is one alveoli, and this fine tubule coming out of each alveoli is the mammary tubule. Okay, now these mammary tubules from different alveoli joins. Okay, so the mammary tubules of one lobule, mammary lobule, they unite to form the mammary duct. They unite to form the mammary duct. So what you see here, the central vein, the central duct is the mammary duct. Okay, now once this alveoli is contracted, the milk comes out through the mammary tubule into this space of mammary duct. Okay, now once inside the mammary duct, again this mammary duct has a lining of this muscle. Okay, lining of muscle, which is again the smooth muscle. This will also contract, so further the milk will be pushed out. Correct, it will be pushed out. Where it will go now? So this mammary duct is actually containing the milk, all the milk produced by all the alveoli of one mammary lobule, right? So one mammary lobule. So can you see here, this is, oh sorry, let me choose another color. So okay, let me put green here, that will be easily visible. So if you see this one, so these green one are actually mammary duct, individual mammary duct coming from each mammary lobule, and they will bring all the milk produced by the respective mammary lobe. Finally, these mammary duct fuses to form a wide tubular structure called ampulla. This is called ampulla. So can you see here? So this part is ampulla, this part is ampulla, right? So finally milk is now into the ampulla. Ampulla will again temporarily store it. Okay, it is a widened structure, so they contain more milk into it, and it will contain all the milk from different mammary lobules. Finally, this ampulla, okay, so this ampulla opens outside through a fine duct. Okay, ampulla is thicker. Now it again constricts to form a fine duct. So let me show you, let me zoom it here. So just follow my pink trail. So can you see here this one? So this is a thin duct, and this duct is called a lactiferous duct. Okay, this is called lactiferous duct. Let me rotate it. So this is one lactiferous duct. Similarly, can you see here? This is another lactiferous duct. Okay, this is the third lactiferous duct. So different lactiferous duct, okay, coming from the ampulla will finally open outside the body through a structure called tits or tit. Okay, so if you look from outside at a breast, what you will find is this thing. Let me show you that on this structure on the breast or mammary gland, a small area, okay, mostly at the center, has a dark pigmentation. Okay, has a dark pigmentation, and this dark pigmented area is called areola. Okay, and it is circular. Now in this area, in the middle, in the center of areola, there is a nipple, or also called tit, nipple or tit, that projects out, and it is the nipple or the tit which have the opening of all these lactiferous duct. So through this lactiferous duct present in the nipple area, finally all the milk from all the lactiferous lobules or all the alveoli is released outside the body. Okay, from where the young one or the baby finally suckles it. Okay, he or she sucks it through this lactiferous duct, and milk is okay into the mouth of the baby. Great. So what you have to remember here, what is the focus, where from where the question would be asked, is the direction of the milk. Okay, how or where it moves. So it is from alveoli. So it is from, the milk is produced in the alveoli. From alveoli it goes to the mammary tubule, and from mammary tubule it goes to the mammary duct. From mammary duct it goes to the ampulla or mammalian ampulla. From ampulla it goes to the lactiferous duct. Okay, and from lactiferous duct it is sucked out. Great. So do remember this whole pathway, okay, how the milk travels. alveoli to mammary tubule to duct, then ampulla, then lactiferous duct. And this is the most important part of it. Do remember. Second most important part is this number, that there are about 15 to 20 mammary lobes in each mammary gland of human female. Remember this. Okay, great. Now coming back to the structure, if we look at the structure, let me show you here again. So here you can clearly see, okay, so here in this diagram you can clearly see the areola. So can you see this part? This dark pigmented area in the center of the mammary gland is called areola, and there is an elevated part, this one. Okay, that is called the nipple or tit. Okay, great. Fine. Here there are other structures which is not really necessary for you. Here they have shown the pectoralis major muscle, which is the muscle of the chest. Okay, that is fine. Apart from this, they have shown this pectoral fat pad. So this fat pad is the same as we have seen above in the NCERT diagram. It is the same fat. Okay, it is also known as fat pad, mammalian mammary fat pad or mammalian fat pad are the same things. So here we find it, also known as pectoral fat pad because it is present in the pectoral region. And then these ligaments, these suspensory ligaments are again fibrous tissue and they support the gland. Okay, so these are necessary for support. Great. Now we have already seen this structure, so this is all about the structure of mammary gland. Do remember this, it is important. Okay, let us look at some other key points about the mammary gland. So I said biology is the science of exceptions, so there are exceptions in each and every regard. Okay, this we have already spoken of, that nipples in some cases nipple is absent, as we have already said. We have already spoken about the monotreme mammals, that is the case of echidna and platypus. So these mammals do not have nipples in their mammary gland. Okay, second thing. Now let us look at some cetaceans, right? Let me remind you that cetaceans are a subclass of Mammalia, which includes the aquatic mammals such as whale, dolphin, porpoise, narwhals, sea cow, manatee. Okay, so these all are the members of Cetacea, and in the members of Cetacea, the nipple is present, but it is present not outside the body. The mammary gland is not present outside the body. Okay, rather it is present inside the body. Okay, so in whales and dolphins or rest of the cetaceans, there is a genital slit, okay, in the posterior half of the body, and it is on the ventral side. In the median ventral side, there is a slit which contains the genital orifice, and hence it is called genital slit. Okay, slit because it is like a single line. Okay, it is longitudinal, therefore slit. So there is genital slit. On either side of the genital slit, there are again two slits. Okay, so suppose this is the body of the whale or maybe dolphin. Okay, sorry, dolphin, right? So on the ventral side, here there is a genital slit, and on the either side of the genital side, I cannot show, so here I'm showing, on the either side of the genital slit there are two more slits. Okay, one on the either side, and inside these slits is the mammary gland. Okay, mammary gland is not outside the body. It is because if it is outside, it will interfere in their swimming. Okay, it will interfere in their streamlined body design, which is meant for swimming, okay, as they are aquatic. So in these mammary slits, inside these mammary slits are the mammary glands, and the tits perfectly, the entire gland including the nipple or the tit remains inside. During the uh, breeding season, when they have their offsprings, when they are lactating their offsprings, these nipples comes out of this genital slit, the young one feeds it, and again it retracts back into the genital slit, okay. So it remains in the genital slit, the young one goes, he knows where it is, and it sucks. Talking of other aquatic mammals, okay, like seals or walrus or sea lions, okay, you must have seen them. The sea lions and walruses, so walruses even have tusk, okay. In case of these animals, these aquatic mammalian animals, seals, sea lions and walruses, they have retractable nipple, okay, and this nipple remains inside the body for rest of the season. It comes out of the body only in the breeding season, okay. So in breeding season it comes out when they have their young ones, so to feed them these nipples come out. Once the lactation period is over, again these nipples will retract back. So if you see from outside, a lactating female may be having these nipples. Non-lactating, you can't even find the mammary gland and the nipples because these all have been retracted. Great. So these are some facts about the mammary gland. Not very necessary, but it's good to know. Well, let's look at the composition of human milk. Okay, so these mammary glands, the glandular cells in the alveoli, secrete milk, right? And what it is composed of. So let us see. The human milk is composed of carbohydrate, and within carbohydrate mainly it has lactose, which is around 7.1%. Again, not very necessary. You do not have to bother to remember these data. Okay. They have proteins, mainly casein protein, which is 0.8 to 0.9%. Fat in the form of droplets, and hence the milk becomes a colloidal liquid, okay, because there are fat droplets which are insoluble, right? They are in their droplet forms. They are colloidal particles. So these fat droplets are there around 4.5%. Minerals, okay, which are dissolved. Within minerals, it contains a very high concentration of calcium, and hence I have written mainly calcium, which is around 0.2%. Do remember that in these minerals there is no iron. So iron is not present. Fe is not present in milk. Okay. Apart from this, the human milk also contain IgA antibodies. Okay, and these antibodies provide passive immunity to the newborn, and hence the mother's milk is very, very crucial. Okay, that's why the doctors always say that it is good, or it is a good practice to breastfeed the child. Okay, because only breastfeed, that is the human milk, will provide it the IgA antibodies required for the passive immunity of the child. Okay, now what is IgA? IgA is a type of antibody. Okay, there are mainly 5 different types of antibodies you may have studied in class 11, that is IgG, IgM, IgA, IgD and IgE, right? So there are these 5 different types of antibodies, out of which only IgA, okay, it is a secretory type of antibody because it is secreted into the milk, and hence the mother's milk is providing passive immunity to the young one or the child. Okay, so mother provides the passive immunity to her child. Great. Now, when we are talking of these antibodies, let me tell you something about colostrum. Okay, now colostrum is the first milk after the childbirth. So first milk after childbirth is called colostrum, and it is thick and yellowish in color. Okay, it is not have the typical white color. Okay, it is bit more yellowish and it is thick, so even the taste is different. Okay, but it is very, very good for the child. Why? Because it is highly rich in the IgA antibodies, and hence it is going to provide a lot of passive immunity. Okay, now it is very important because the child immediately after the childbirth is coming into an external environment, right, where it encounters a lot of antigens. Okay, when he or she is respiring, okay, or the surrounding air has a lot of antigens. Okay, so they require to boost up their immunity to fight against these antigens. Okay, and this milk is going to provide them ready-made antibodies to fight against these. Okay, and therefore it is called passive immunity, and hence it is very important. It is really important to feed the child with this colostrum. So first milk has to be given to the young one or the newborn. In earlier days, okay, in earlier days it was considered that this milk is not good, and in many families the people used to throw it. They do not use to feed the child with this colostrum because they think that it is not a good milk, it is impure milk. On contrary, it is the best thing to feed the child at that time. Okay, colostrum. Then we talk about lactation. Now, the process of breastfeeding the newborn is called lactation. Okay, and the period for which pregnant women keep on producing milk after childbirth to feed its newborn is called the lactational period. Okay, now lactational period really varies. Lactational period varies from person to person. If the person is continuing the breastfeed, the lactational period may go beyond 3 years after the childbirth. If not, it will stop even within an year. Okay, so it is observed that the mother who is continuously breastfeeding their child, they have a longer lactational period. The mothers who stop the lactation period overs eventually. Okay, great. So this is all about the structure of mammary gland and milk. In next lecture we will start the oogenesis. Okay, we will see at the structure of ovary and how the follicular development occurs. Great. I hope you will like this video, and we will meet in the next lecture. So stay tuned and take very good care of yourself. Keep sanitizing yourself. Thank you.